everybody. This is Eric Worre, and welcome to NetworkMarketingPro.com. As promised, today I want to talk about the new revolution as I see it in the network marketing profession, in the direct selling profession. In our profession, I've been around for almost 25 years, and there have been different seasons. There are different revolutions that have happened inside of our great profession, and in most cases, it's moved the profession forward in a positive way. I hope that this next revolution, I believe this next revolution, will also move us forward in a positive way. Let me take you back and talk to you about the way things were when I joined. The period of time, I would call it the load, the front-end loading period of time. And what the front-end loading period meant was, the model was, companies would go to distributors and they would basically turn them into little franchisees. The distributor itself would buy 5 or 10 or maybe even 25 or $1,000 worth of product or more, and then they would resell that product to other new distributors. They'd make a margin, and then they'd buy more, and then they'd resell it, and then they'd buy more, and then they'd resell it. Sometimes they were selling it to customers. Most times they were selling it to other new distributors in their open organization. For example, a company would say, hey, to get involved, it's $5,000. $5,000 worth of inventory you will get. And then when you bring somebody into your business, if they buy $5,000, you can move your $5,000 to them. Or if you have 5 different people who each bought $1,000, you can move $1,000 each one of those, and you will make the difference based upon the compensation structure. And then, once you did that 1 month, you know what the monthly qualifier typically was? The same as that buy-in. So the next month, you'd have to buy another $5,000 and then resell it to either new people or customers, mostly to new distributors. And then the next month, you'd have to buy another $5,000 and then resell it, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Now, you wonder why in the early days some of these companies could go to $100 million. Well, how many people does it take to make $100,000 in sales at $5,000 apiece? Just 20 people. 20 people. So a few people doing a lot would create a lot of volume. So 20 people would create 100,000. 200 people qualifying would create $1 million in a month. Just 200 people. 2,000 people would create what? 10 million in a month. So how do these companies get to 100 million? Way back in the day, they did it on the efforts of a few doing a big amount. Now that ran its course, and that became, people ended up piled up. And, with anything, people take advantage. People ended up piled up with lots of inventory in their garages, and our profession took a hit in its reputation because of all this product piled up. And it became, hey, I've got makeup, and I've got water filters, and I've got this, and I've got that. I don't need any more opportunity. Can't afford any more opportunity, right? So that was the front-end load era. And then the next era became, and typically with that, there wasn't recurring monthly purchases from the distributors or from customers. It was a one-time sale many times. From there, it became what I would call consumption. The consumption era. The consumption era said, we're going to bring you in for a much smaller amount, enough to get a taste of our product line, and then we're going to ask you to be a super customer and to consume your own product and to be a super customer. In the consumption era, people would come in typically for, let's say, $500 to $1,000 of initial inventory for them to sell and mostly to use and familiarize themselves with the products. And then they would be asked to be a super customer. In order to qualify for all the compensation, all the bells and whistles, to be a good soldier, it would be somewhere around $200 a month. $200 a month. And what companies found is it was slower because to get to 100,000 in volume in a month, you only need 20 here. Well, you need 500 here to get to the same 100,000. I think I'm doing the math right. 500 people at $200 a month but it was a little bit more stable, and the consumption was there, and people were happy, and you can get a little bit bigger group of good soldiers, and we could make some money from the initial product purchases, and then we would make residual money on the monthly. Okay? And for some of you, you don't even want to be educated on this, but I'm educating you just because we're involved in this profession, and I want you to know where I think we're going. And if this isn't interesting to you, you can tune out anytime. But $200 a month is still a big chunk of change for these super customers, these distributors who are really high-end customers. They're part of the culture. They're going to the events. They're using the $200 a month. That's $2,400 a year. Big money. You're still talking about big money, personally putting out $2,400 a year for a family. Sometimes it's more than that, $200 or $300, but let's call it $200. $2,400 a year. What ends up happening from that is the best companies in the world, when you have 5 years worth of people being involved in a company, if the company's more than 5 years old, if you have better than 10% still on this, you're one of the best in the world. 10%. You know what? Most companies get 2 or 3 of these. They get they get the initial sign up, they get 1, 2, or 3 of these, and then it drops off. And then you have your super soldiers who stay in the game and continue to order every single month. This model, which has been the staple for probably 15 years at least, this has been the model. And there's always a customer story attached to it, but really if you now analyze the company sales comes from this amount and comes from this amount, and a small fraction comes from true non-distributor customers. There's a few exceptions out there in the direct selling world, but not a lot of exceptions. This has been the norm. And I will tell you, in my personal opinion, my professional opinion, this model is dying. This era, just like this era ended, this era is ending. And I'm going to tell you a couple reasons why and things that I think need to happen. I hope companies watch. I know a lot of company owners watch. I hope you can transition to the next era. The next era, I believe, I'll just call it new because I don't even know what to call it yet. I think you're still going to see a similar initial consumption, initial startup. It's finding in the real world anywhere between $100 and say $500 startup initial product purchase. Now, why 100 to 500? The reason why the big swing is our network marketing profession has become a global profession. It is not a local profession anymore. It's not a one-size-fits-all anymore. I saw a great interview from the CEO of Avon, which is the biggest company in the network marketing direct selling profession, with Mad Money, Jim Cramer, on CNBC. And he talked about how they approach each country with the startup and with the product offerings and with the price points in order to be able to sustain in that country, in order to be able to be competitive in that country. The one-size-fits-all for every country, for every economy, is going the way of the dinosaur. You're going to have to localize, in my opinion, in order to be able to thrive into the future. If not, what most companies are doing is they open up a country, it doesn't really work, then they open up the next one, they open up the next one, and they have all these series of launches that kind of keep the volume going, but it doesn't really grow the overall ship. And then so local is very important in our global economy. After this initial enrollment, then what I'm seeing is around $50 per month to qualify, to be a good soldier. About $50 a month, which works out to about $600 a year. Hopefully for the companies, the product is really high value, and it's something maybe that people were using before and they could transfer the dollars that they were spending someplace else. I understand you have the story here to make that work, but I'm just telling you, when you look at your real retention numbers, you're going to find that story doesn't hold up. It sounds good in your mouth, but it doesn't work when you look at the numbers. Just how many distributors have joined your business and how many are still on auto ship. That's going to tell you the health of the product itself and the affordability of people being able to stay in the game long enough to be able to turn that experience into a profitable one. Okay? So if this number, and you can't, a lot of people say, well, I disagree with you because I've been involved for 6 months and my retention is 80%. Well, yeah, you've been involved for 6 months. Give it another 4.5 years, and I will tell you, the best in class have this number. Best in class have this number. So if your number's less than that, then you've got to evaluate that. Okay? Just be honest when you look at the numbers. So I'm thinking around the $50 mark. Plus, the second phenomenon is real customers. People who are not just involved with the opportunity. People who are using the product with or without the opportunity, with or without guilt from their family and friends, really because they're enjoying the product is priced well, it's a high-impact product, it's giving them a big difference in their life, they can afford it, and they're telling their friends about it. So we've talked on an earlier show about companies really having to up your game when it comes to the quality of the product and the affordability of the product, and not dumping all of your lack of amazing product into this group that hoping that because they're a good soldier that they'll continue to buy. You've got to live in the customer world, not just in the good soldier world, in order to thrive in the new network marketing economy. My opinion. So what I think you're going to see is I think you're going to see price points in this range starting up, depending on the globalization. I think you're going to see price points anywhere from $10 to $80 a month, depending on the market that you're working in. And you know what this new economy for network marketing requires? Patience. You're not going to be able to bottle rocket to $10,000 a month like you could in the low days. You're not going to be able to create this massive volume like you could in the consumption days. You're going to have to be patient. You're going to have to give it 3 to 5 years. Everybody. You're going to have to back up from these old expectations and these expectations. You're going to have to say, you know what? At $50 a month, I've got to build X. But plus real customers in order to be able to have residual income that I want in my life. But I'll have it because this will be real. I won't be dealing with this 10% or less retention. I'll be dealing with a much higher retention rate, much more distributors staying in the game. Instead of 3 months, you'll see an average of 6, 9, 12, 18 months of average inside the organization, people being involved, plus real customers staying on for the long term. If the quality of the product's amazing, the price point's amazing, and the story, like the story's been good here, the story needs to be good here too. So a little bit different show. I hope all this showed up on the screen. I'm going to check real quick. Hold on. Yep, it showed up. Hope you could read it. Hope it helped you. Here's what I will tell you. I believe this new revolution is going to happen with or without you. For you company owners out there, the faster you can get to this, bite the bullet, and set expectations in your organization that we're a real build, but we're going to be here for a long time, and residual income is real for you. Companies who are already doing this, congratulations. Companies who are here, come on, you gotta take a move, because I know there's still some out there. Most of you that are here, just try and create maybe a 2 or 3 year plan to get yourself into this world, transition your products into real customer efficacy world, and then watch your long-term legacy really be locked in forever. So that's our show for today. It might be a little bit controversial, but so be it. Ladies and gentlemen, my wish for you is that you decide to become a network marketing professional. You decide to go pro, because it is a stone-cold fact that we have a better way. Now let's go tell the world. Everybody have a great day, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.